the major one, inshallah. One of them is a friendship. One of them is a desire. And the last one I will talk about is not being mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Three things. The muraqabah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the people you go with. If I can expand this, I can say the place you stay also. And also following the desire. Because there are some people, there is no one who is deceiving them, but this is just the choice they make for themselves. Let me talk about the first one. The first one is so strong. For this reason, the concept of hijrah is established by Islam. The Prophet ﷺ showed us in many hadiths that the hijrah is continuous action that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves till the day of judgment. That's why the scholars in their own books of Aqidah, they make this note. They said, Al-hijratu madiya ila yawm al-qiyamah. The migration is continuous till the day of judgment. What is hijrah? Hijrah is not to leave the place of the non-believers to the place of Islam alone. No, hijrah is very big and wide topic. That's why the Prophet ﷺ in one hadith, he said, وَالْمُهَاجِرُ مَنْ هَاجَرَ مَا نَهَى اللَّهُ عَنْهُ. This is the best definition he will give hijrah. Hijrah is to leave something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want to something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy with. Because every type of hijrah you bring in Islam, it is included in this definition. Hijrah is to leave something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates to something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. This is hijrah. When you move from the place of the non-believers to the place of the believers, you're moving from something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates to something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want you to stay there. He said, الَّذِينَ تَوْفَّاهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ ظَالِمِي أَنفُسِهِمْ. The people who are going to receive the angels during death, the angels, they will take their soul in such a way they are oppressor to themselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the angels, they will ask him, فِيمَ كُنْتُمْ. In what situation were you in? I mean, angels, they come to take the soul of someone, and this person is extremely weak. He couldn't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask him through the angels, what happened to you? What will be the reply? He will say, Kunna mustadafina fil ard. We used to be weak on earth. What will be the answer? The angels, they will ask him, they will tell him, who told you that this is the only place you can stay? Why don't you move to another place? If this place you are not able to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, why can't you move? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, these people, they will be going to hell. Why do you need to move from the place of the non-believers? And you need to move from the place of the wrongdoers? Because it is very, 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 very difficult to maintain your iman living in that place. And things you're going to be familiar with things. The first day, some people, when they come to a place where they can find, mashallah, so many tragedies. I mean, women are not dressing properly and all this. The first thing, you just stay and watch. You will see this person coming from the place of, faith and the place in which people, they practice the deen. You come to evil place. The first day, just look at him. Look at the reaction. He will finish the day saying what? A'udhu billah, astaghfirullah, a'udhu billah, astaghfirullah, a'udhu billah, closing his eyes down, cannot even look up, like this. The first day, can. No more. 100% their eyes are down. The second day, sometimes raise up, sometimes go down. The third day, half. The fourth day just come. There will be a day in which you will be just normal. Finish. So this type of sensitivity that you need to maintain in your heart is going to be perished. And by Allah, wallahi, every Muslim needs this. Because this is your strong protection that you are living in. To have this type of sensitivity whenever you see something which is forbidden to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your nature will not accept. You can't have this living in the middle of wrongdoers, because it's going to die. You keep on seeing it in such a way, a day will come, you will see wrong thing, you can never ask someone to stop it. This is if you yourself, you don't change. Yeah, that's why the Prophet ﷺ really emphasize on hijrah. You have to leave. People, they convert to Islam, the Prophet ﷺ will ask them, leave this place, come to the city and live with the Muslim. Because in many cases, if I come out, I will just see Brother Masri, mashallah. I was thinking of going to commit sin, I just see him, I said, oh, alhamdulillah, there are still people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I go back to my house. I come out, I see, who is the gangster? Any name of gangsters. I see one of them, still there is someone on my way, so I'm not the only one. You just proceed and do it. But if you see someone who is a righteous person, they will remind you to go back and make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't commit the sin. So that's why the place is very important, and it is one of the things that are distracting people from making tawbah. Because if you are staying in the place, you will keep on seeing the sin day after day, day after day, day after day. When you find many people, they are doing the same thing with you, what are you going to do? You will keep on doing it. Postponing the tawbah, inshallah, 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 before you realize the angel of death will be in front of you. The second thing which is attached to this is the friends. And this is one of the epidemic of the era. And people, they don't want to accept, they don't want to change. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about friendship in the Quran in a very harsh way. In such a way, every human being, if you have common sense, you're going to stay and watch and bring the names and the picture of all of your friends and select the best and go with them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَيَوْمَ يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ يَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي اتَّخَذْتُ مَعَ الرَّسُولِ سَبِيلًا. Normally, if you regret, you will take your finger and put in your mouth and you bite it. That's it. This is fact. People, they regret, and then you will take your finger and put one finger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, on the last day, you will see the oppressor is going to take his two hands, all of the fingers, and put them in his mouth. Why? He will say, I wish I took the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be the best of my friends. That's one. Ya waylata laytani lam attakhidh fulanan khalila. He will say, I wish, woe be to me, he will say, I wish I did not take so and so and so person to be my friend. And then he will mention what happened. Is he going to benefit? No. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his hadith, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bring you back according to the religion of your friend. So therefore he said, you have to look and make sure that your friends, they are the best. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring you back according to the nature of and the religion of your friends. If your friends are excellent, most likely you're going to come like them. Why is this? Because this one you don't need any explanation, because it's nature of the human beings. The Arabs, they have one very excellent poetry. They said, "Anil mar'i la tas'al wasal an qarini, fa kullu qarinin bil muqarani yaqtadi." If you want to know about someone, the best way to know this person, don't ask about him directly. Ask who are his friends. Because normally, naturally, you cannot convince me that out of 100 people, these people, they used to go together, they eat together, they do everything together. Everyone is drinking wine except one. It would be very difficult. You have to produce. It is possible, no problem, but it is too difficult to convince people to understand. Because normally, if this one is drinking, the other one also is going to drink. It starts with one. Because they go all together, the other one is going to be shy. One day he is going to join the train. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, you have to look and make sure that your friend, they are the best. They are the best. The Prophet ﷺ, and this last hadith that I will mention about this, he said, لا تصاحب إلا مؤمنا ولا يأكل طعامك إلا تقي. He said, don't you ever take someone to be your friend if this person is not a believer. You see, you have Islam, Muslim, and you have mu'min. Everyone knows that mu'min is better than Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ said, make sure that your friend is mu'min, not only Muslim. And he said, and make sure that the one who is going to eat your food is a believer also, is someone who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why the Prophet ﷺ said this? Because of what we have mentioned. If you go with someone, most probably you're going to go with him. So that's why my suggestion here is, whenever you decide to make a friend, make sure that your friend, they're better than you. Don't you ever take someone who is lower than your position. Unless if you cannot find. Yeah, sometimes in this era, in the place you live in, you cannot find. Either down or at least the same level. So if you cannot find someone to go with who is better than you, take someone who is like you. But don't you ever take someone who is lower than your position to be your best and closest friend that you go with. Because 100% surely he is going to make you weak. Yeah. People, they used to be deceived. No, inshallah, I will turn them to be like me. And then what will happen? After a few days, they turn him to be like them. They said someone married a woman. She's from the Shia Madhab. People, they said, what's wrong with you? He said, no, I will change her to be. And you know the power of the sisters with the husband. And they found him later on, he was almost converted to Shia sister. Why? Because of the Shia that he is with. This is nature. You cannot change the system. This is how Allah SWT affected. That's why the Prophet ﷺ reminded you to make sure that the one who's going to be your friend is the best. What are the benefits of taking this type of personality? As I gave you the example, if you have a good and excellent friend, he will always command you to do good deeds. And whenever you did something, he is going to ask you to stop. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-mu'minu mir'atu akhihi al-mu'min. إِذَا وَجَدَ فِيهِ عَيْبًا أَصْلَحَهُ. Mu'min, a believer, is like a mirror to another believer. Whenever he finds something deficient in his brother, he's going to fix it. You see, when you go out, you just look at the mirror and fix this and that. So mu'min is like this. I go out, I have some weaknesses, I did something wrong. Sometimes I don't realize that I'm doing something wrong. Sheikh Master is going to look at me and say, Brother Ibrahim, this is wrong. You have to fix it. The Prophet ﷺ said this and that. And then I will say, Wallahi, I did not know. Thank you very much. This is the real brotherhood. If my brother is going to see me committing sin and just walk away and leave me doing it, this is my enemy. He's not a brother. And this is what is going on these days. I can see someone, I call him my friend, my brother, and all this, but he will never ask me to stop doing sin. And some of them, you talk to them, they already know. Ibrahim asked, just go and advise him to stop committing sin. I will say, what? No, he already know. No need. What do you already know? Without reminder, you would never be like this. The first time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned something about hell, and people, they have to be aware of hell, and still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the first page till the end of the Quran, He kept on reminding you after every few pages about hell. Why? Why didn't He say that? You already know. Finish. Reminded you, you already know. Because the nature of human being is like this. Imagine someone is in hell. There's definitely, yes, in human being, they need reminder to make tawbah. Someone is in hell, and he got all of the problem. He was crying, screaming, jumping up and down, yelling, and he was asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send him out of hell, promising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you take me out of it, I promise you to worship you if I go back to the world. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, no way. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَوْ دُولَ عَدُ. Can you imagine?